for the phenomenon. But the rationale behind it from law enforcement standpoint was we want to surprise drug dealers and people involved in narcotics trafficking. And we wanted to prevent them from being able to grab a gun or from destroying evidence.
And so they have warrants, no-knock warrants?
Yeah.
So you would go in front of a judge and you would say, this is probable cause, this person's selling drugs and they have guns and we want a no-knock warrant. It's a specific type of warrant.
Correct. So that's exactly right. And so it was born out of the 1980s quote-unquote war on drugs. So in the wake of the devastation that it's caused, specifically to people of color, because there is some, whether you call it institutional racism, whether you call it whatever it is, we're just not living in reality if we are not recognizing the fact that there are many white folks that see someone of color and think danger, and typically African Americans. They think danger, they think there's a problem, they have all of these conscious and unconscious biases. This is not a coincidence that all of these people that are being killed in these situations, whether it's a knock warrant, a black person running from police. So if you get back to these knock warrants, the failure is not on the part of Republicans or Democrats. It's on the part of all of them as human beings and politicians. The George Floyd Policing Act, for which Joe Biden and Kamala Harris championed, and I think Tim Scott, who is the only African-American Republican, really got behind, it ultimately failed. And failure is not a Democratic failure or a Republican failure. It's a failure of all of us.
What was in it?
There were many police reforms in it, but critical to this conversation was the George Floyd Policing Act sought to do away with no-knock warrants by telling municipalities, we are going to cut off your access to state and federal funds unless and until you stop this practice.
So when an act like this is